This is a good beat. Why aren't you dancing?
Dancing is forbidden. 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 Dancing is forbidden.
Yoo-hoo, running crew! Welcome to Dancing is Forbidden. I am Ronnie, lifelong fan of and one-time voice on AQUA TEEN Hunger Force. And today, we are talking to my one-time boss, AQUA TEEN co-creator and voice of Markula, Cybernetic Ghost. The list goes on. It's Mr. Matt Maiellaro. Now, I got some important news for you here, so I'm going to need you to really pay attention, preferably stop what you're doing. Completely, and I know you're thinking, I'm driving, what am I pull over, I know that's an option, pull over on the shoulder here. You might be thinking, Ronnie, I'm an open heart surgeon, I'm in the operating room, put down your little scissors and that cotton ball, or I don't know how that works. Listen up, alright? Big news for you. Matt, he is on Twitter and he is on YouTube now. So links to both of these in the description to this podcast episode. His Twitter is at Matt Maiellaro. And this is exciting because Matt traditionally has not really been online in any sort of way that you could interact with him. But now that is not the case. So today we are getting into Matt's YouTube channel, including the very popular pilot Shredforce. We're talking a little bit about that. We're also getting into the time that Matt almost made a cartoon with Ringo Starr. Yeah, that's right. The one from the battles, the bottles, something like that. You know who I'm talking about. And if you couldn't guess, we're also getting into AQUA TEEN Season 12, the most recent season of AQUA TEEN. I hope you've seen it, because this will make a lot more sense if you have. If you haven't, it's over on max.com. You can watch that live over the internet. All 5 episodes in full, pristine glory. And if you've already seen it, watch it again, because anytime you stream it, that'll help the chances of AQUA TEEN coming back. And is AQUA TEEN coming back? Well, that's my first question for Matt here, so let's jump into the interview. But first, I want to say thanks to Matt for coming back, being so generous with his time here. This is his 3rd time coming on the podcast as a solo guest. That might make the artwork and stuff make a little bit more sense for you. Appreciate him taking the time away from the woods, away from his guitars. Well, not really, I guess, because he did pick up some of his guitars while we were talking. Appreciate Matt for coming on. I was so excited about it, I had to write my own heavy metal interlude for him. Let's go talk to Matt. Jumping into season 12 of AQUA TEEN, the newest season.
Yeah.
First of all, to jump ahead of everything else I'm going to ask you, do you have any idea how that did? Like, was the network happy with the performance of it, or do you have no idea?
From what I heard, it actually did really well because it came on after Rick and Morty. According to the programmer over there, through Dave, told me this, that it did great. It did good. I don't know the exact numbers anymore. The numbers are so different now because cable's kind of dying out, but apparently it did really well.
Good.
Yeah. When it did so well that they didn't order more because they were afraid to order more.
They were afraid how much it would cost them since it did so well. It's like an international hit.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you heard, Tom Cruise liked it. He was a big fan. I had him on the podcast.
Yeah, I know. He called me the other day and told me how much he liked it. And I said, yeah. I said, you should do another airplane movie.
Yeah.
So he's going to think about it.
All right. Well, maybe you guys are like in a bind now where it's like, he's like, all right, if you do another AQUA TEEN, I'll do another airplane movie.
I think that's the thing. I think it's almost a dare at this point. I dare you to do another one. And then he dares us back.
Yeah.
He's such a funny little guy. And little he is.
Yeah. But I mean, you know, he's big on the big screen.
Yeah. I mean, because it's a big screen.
If you watch him on your phone, he's even smaller.
I know, that's the thing. That's the thing about technology.
This is so stupid.
I know.
I have a listener question here from supporter of the show, SwimWiki, who wants to know, what was your first reaction to getting the season ordered?
Oh, we were super excited. I mean, super excited. We didn't expect it. It came on the heels of the New York premiere of the Plantasm movie. Like within days, they said, let's do 5 more of those. Not 10, 5.
10 would be too much.
10 would be way too much. Yeah, no, we were like really, really excited about it, bringing that thing back. Yeah.
Because you guys did Aquadonk side pieces and then Plantasm.
Mm-hmm.
Was the goal kind of always to get back to doing the show in its normal form?
I think Dave and I always hoped that was our goal. Yeah. Because it there's no development with it. You just flip a switch and it goes.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Right.
We had the whole crew, we had the whole cast, everything was just ready to go. But yeah, after that long hiatus, and then after the movie, we were like, oh man, this would be fun if we get to do some more. And then they did 5 more. But yeah, I'm just going to say never. But right now they're not calling us to do more. But who knows?
Yeah, especially with everything. Like there was some fear that the new season would get canceled because of everything that was happening over at Warner Discovery at the time, like before that season came out. So people didn't know what was going on too. So,
and they're still kind of a mess. They're still trying to figure out how many more people they can lay off to make money. Seriously, they are. And it's like, when is it going to end? It's like, just hire me and Dave, and Zaslav and Michael Aline, and we'll make it work.
Mm-hmm.
That's how it started. It was Lazo and me and Dave and Pete Smith and somebody else.
Somebody else who will not be mentioned.
Yeah.
It was Voldemort was the last guy that we can talk about. I'm wondering, did you guys toy with renaming the show for this new season, or?
No, we wanted to bring back the branded name, AQUA TEEN Hunger Force.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we felt that was important, actually, to not rename it.
Yeah.
And the only reason why it kept getting renamed is because it had been on for so long. We kept just seeing if we renamed it, if people wouldn't suddenly be able to find it.
Well, they found it. I mean, people kept watching it, man.
Yeah.
Is the order that the episodes aired in, was that the order that you wrote them in, or did you guys like plan out how you wanted the episodes to air in a particular order?
No, it wasn't the order we wrote them, but that's how we wanted to air it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so I think Shaketopia may have really actually been the first one, and we wanted to air that one first specifically because it had such a different look to it.
Right.
I mean, it had a really different look to it, and so we wanted to slap that out there first to make people think, "Oh my, is this how it's going to be? Did they change it this much?" And then we went back to the old school. I don't remember the order, but I remember specifically saying that one's first, and then these other 4 in this order.
Because it was only 5 episodes, did you find that you guys were more precious with your ideas that you wanted to use for the episodes because you could only do 5?
Only because we could only do 5, yeah. I mean, if we had done 10, I think we would have paid as close attention and been as precious as well. But yeah, I think there was probably a little bit more to that, only because we were only doing 5. You know, we had the time to kind of, instead of thinking about 10, just hone it down and make them as great as we can.
I know that you, or at least I assume you guys wrote the episodes through Zoom.
Yeah, we did. You know, what happened was, I mean, even today, Dave and I are working on something else and we Zoom. It's just so much easier. Where it's not easier is when you're editing, it's really way more efficient to sit down with your editor in person. But, we wrote Plantasm over the pandemic through either a phone call or Zoom. And we just kind of got used to it and it just works. So, and Dave and I, it works for us for sure. It's just 2 of us and we just kind of hang out. We shoot the shit for a bit and start talking about what if Shake did this or what if this happened to Meatwad, and it just kind of naturally works. Plus Dave doesn't shower, so I don't need to be like near him.
Right. That's the real answer.
Or I don't shower. One of us doesn't shower. I can't remember which one.
You guys have alternating shower days, so one of you is always stinky every single day.
That's what it is. Yeah.
So when we spoke before, you alluded to not being able to do what you wanted to do for the intro theme due to budgetary reasons. So you and Nick and Katanawat tackled that yourself. Would you be able to share what your initial idea was, like what you wanted to do for the intro to the new season?
I think we were going to get Schooly D with somebody else big. I can't remember who it was right now because it was our big idea and then it didn't happen. But we wanted to go big with the artists and kind of revamp the original song. But apparently, and in the beginning, it was like, yeah, we can do that. That's no problem. Yeah, we can do that. And then for some reason, they couldn't do it.
Oh.
So in fact, they couldn't do it so much to the fact that I mean, there was no money to do anything. So I give Nick Inkatanawat most of the credit, 99% of it, because he went in and revamped that theme song.
Mm-hmm.
And then I came in and added some guitars and stuff to it. It was really all Nick. Yeah, he's a genius at stuff like that.
I believe he did the new logo too, right?
He did. He did the logo and he did the end. He did the ending.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
So,
the whole end sequence.
yeah. I mean, I think Dave and I walked him through the ending, like the visuals and stuff, but he put all that together.
You know that we're back all in trouble. You want a trip? I bring it to you. Frank Lock and I'm all top. Rock you like a cop. Me want you up. No shit. Make the money see. Me want get the honey see. Swallow in my car. When I go to the store. Ice on my fingers and my toes and my check it.
A big change to this season compared to how you did previous seasons was the fact that this season was storyboarded, like a typical animated show. This kind of being an evolution from Plantasm, which was storyboarded as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, first of all, how did that storyboarding come about? Was that from you and Dave, or was that from Floyd County?
Well, I think both. I think Dave and I enjoyed the Plantasm experience, and it's what Floyd County was used to doing already.
Mm-hmm.
And so we were like, yeah, let's definitely just do that. So yeah, it was like a mutual, this is what we're going to do.
For you making this show, how would you say that storyboarding changed the process for you and Dave?
It just makes it way more efficient. It's like, you know what you're going to start animating before you start animating or doing an animatic, and it takes longer. It's faster to draw something out really fast and go, yeah, that's great, or add this, and then they draw it within a second. Where it takes an editor a week or more to start putting stuff together, then you come in and you go, no, none of that. Put it back over to here. So we're building the blueprint. That's the thing we never had. Our blueprint was always an animatic that took forever with the boards, and they don't even have to be like super detailed at all or really well done. Just kind of like the blocking and an expression here or there, or which way somebody's going to move. So then when you start animating it, or, you know, it just, you know what you're going to get. Does that make sense? It's like, you don't just go to Home Depot and buy a bunch of wood and start trying to build a house. You need to have a plan. So you draw out your plan.
Right. Mm-hmm.
I mean, I would, but
I assume then that going forward, if you guys were to make more episodes, you would want to storyboard them as well.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. I think that's how every cartoon is done. We were the only people not doing it those 15 years.
You finally caught on.
Yeah, we did. because, you know, it was like, it was such a tight, small crew, and maybe we just didn't have anybody. We never even thought about it because that's not how we made Space Ghost, you know?
Right.
We just kind of built it all in Avid and started from there. But yeah, it took us, we were way behind when it came to how to make a cartoon.
So I know that it seems like you guys really enjoy that process, but is there one thing that you miss from the old process of the editor animatic? Is there one thing, like one area that you would say that was better in than doing a storyboard?
I mean, besides that, you like your editor and you want to spend more time with them. I mean, no, I feel like I don't know how to answer that really, because I feel like, well, now that we've done it the right way, that's the way we're going to do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just so much more efficient.
Yeah. Once you go bored, you can't go back.
Yeah. Once you go bored. What's in that little hugger of yours? Schlitz?
It's a local. It's brewed right here in Rochester, Minnesota. Shout out Little Thistle. It's Brave Woman. It's a Scottish ale.
Nice. I usually have my 12-ounce mug, but it's I don't know where it is.
Oh my gosh. It might be in the woods still from that last video you shot.
I used to have 4 of them, and now I'm down to 1, and I swear it's because I leave them on the back of my truck and I drive off.
You almost made me spit my Scottish ale all over my equipment here, Matt. Jesus. Obviously, this season has much more robust animation than any AQUA Teen seasons before it. Mm-hmm. I assume that you guys knew that was a possibility going into it, right? Going into writing the episodes?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Floyd did a great job.
Because I'm curious, because like you point out, you know, for example, Shaketopia, there's this big fight scene that we could have never have seen in a previous AQUA Teen episode.
Yeah.
So do you remember writing that? Like, did that come while you guys were initially writing it, or did that come later? Like a fight scene like that, or?
No, we wanted to do that fight scene. It's like, let's blow our wad here. And we actually did. We actually went way over budget on that show because of the look, because of the fight scene, because of the grandness of that episode.
Mhm.
Yeah, we always we push it. In the writing was sometimes you write thinking we only have $4, but then you kind of need to get out of that mindset and just write the craziest thing that you can. And then let's see what we can do with it, given the budget and the studio. Yeah, we were really psyched about that. And we tried and tried and tried and tried and tried to get Wesley, but we never heard from him.
That's all you know. Hot dogs and igloos. You want to impress me? Do Wesley Snipes.
You want your snipe hunt? A Wesley Snipes hunt?
Okay, I did not ask you to do that. That was a hypothetical.
It's open season on all shakeheads.
That's a sound alike. Yeah, I knew you wouldn't get the real guy to do the voice. Oh, wait.
He was afraid to be on our show because, I mean, how much more famous can you get? I mean, that would have just launched him off the earth, basically. And he would have had to become famous on Neptune. So,
No, see, the problem is, and the reason he dodged that, which I understand, is because he knew that was going to be one of the biggest television seasons of all time.
Yeah.
And if that happened, then he's got the IRS knocking on his door again, and he does not want to deal with any of that. So
I know.
I don't blame him. He figured it out the first time, and he's just laying low now.
Yeah, dude.
So I have a couple, like a question or two for each of the episodes here.
Okay.
Shaketopia, it's one of those classic AQUA Teen technology episodes. We have Shake, Meatwad, and Frylock eventually in a VR world.
Yeah.
I'm curious, have you played around with VR?
No, I haven't. No, have you?
Oh my gosh, never? Yeah. No, I got one right here. It's really nice because when I'm interviewing you guys and like I suck as an interviewer, I just put this on and I run my simulation where I know what I'm doing. And it ends up a lot better, at least in the simulation.
Oh, see, if we had those when we were writing it, it would have been 10 times better because the VR helps it better, helps it to be better.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. No, I have not fucked around with it. And we wanted to like explore it, but in an AQUA Teen way. I can't believe you have that thing. Don't you feel like lonely when you put that on?
Well, see, here's the thing is that I only ever play it with, like, my wife gets on, like my brother-in-law gets on,
Okay.
and we play this golf game. It's a virtual reality golf, basically.
Oh, okay.
It's mini golf. So there's like, it's really fantastical. They can do these crazy things because it's not real life.
Yeah.
So no, I use it socially, I guess. I don't ever really play it by myself.
Okay.
You just picked up your guitar there. That actually relates to my next question.
Yep.
For A Quiet Shake, we have an AQUA Teen song in that one called Box Slayer.
Step inside my office and let's get to work. Box Slayer. Down on your knees. Box Slayer.
Your boxes are slain, alas.
Goodbye, boxes.
Now get out of my office.
What does the songwriting process look like for that? And also, how does that come about when you and Dave are writing a script? Do you guys just say, oh, we should put a song here, or what happens?
Yeah, I think that's how it came about, actually. And we called it Box Slayer. I think in the script we said they're gonna be dressed up and have makeup that looks like this, and the song is going to be called Box Slayer, and that was it. So then I toyed around on the guitar and started thinking of. I think Dave left that one up to me. If they had been doing like a country western song or something, I would have left it up to Dave.
Mm-hmm.
So I came up with the whole riff and the chorus, and then Dave and I wrote the lyrics. I think in the room the day we were going to record it.
Oh, wow, okay.
So I'd laid down kind of a rough track. Actually, it was a little more than rough, and then I brought that I sent it to our sound mixer Sean, and Sean cleaned it up. He actually used the drums I put in there. And this is the first time I'd ever even played with drums, with MIDI. He added bass and kind of cleaned it up. And then Dave went in and sang it. And then we just edited. We just that's just how we did like the Mastodon song, Linoleum Knife. I mean, I didn't write the music on that, but we wrote the lyrics. And the band came in that day and figured out a song for it. So it's really run and gun. So I love doing stuff like that. It's like the thing I did for the Plantasm movie was the same way. I worked with Sean Coleman on that. And they had to be like that 80s Scorpion style stuff, and I just came up with that, whatever that thing was I did, and it just worked. Sometimes it's like if you overthink it, it's well, at least for me, it's like it's better sometimes just coming off the cuff.
Well, speaking of Sean Coleman, supporter of the show UWF, had a question for you about Sean. UWF wanted to know, have you ever thought about making an album with Sean Coleman?
I haven't, because this is the first time I've worked with Sean Coleman.
Really?
I mean, I've known Sean for a long time, and I knew that he did what he did, but I never worked with him until this season. He did some stuff on Plantasm, but it was while I was at the ranch still. So, oh no, Sean's great, man. He plays bass, and he's a really funny guy, and he's real talented. It'd be fun to make something with him. I never thought about it. I never thought to ask him. He's in a band right now. I think he has like a dad band, and they play around the neighborhoods and stuff. And
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
The first time I met Sean was, I think some friends of mine were taking me and I just gotten engaged, and they took us out to Trader Vic's here in Atlanta. And Mike Eyer's band was playing Tongo Hiti. Have you been to Trader Vic's? It's like it's like Dana Snyder would like lived at that place when he was in town. It's like it's like Hawaiian drinks and stuff. And
okay,
so Tongo Hiti was playing, and Sean was playing bass, and I went over there and met him because my friend knew them. And then I ended up working with them on 12 Ounce Mouse, and Sean played bass there. But then I didn't work with Sean as a sound mixer or designer until that little mini season.
You mentioned just there Skywalker Ranch. Did you guys use them for the new season or no? No. See, that there wasn't even money for that, so we stayed local and worked with Sean. Sure. Okay. Yeah. Because I didn't see you guys there. That's where I mix my podcast. Every episode, I go to the Skywalker.
Yeah, I know. In the big room, in the big. Where they do Toy Story, the Toy Story movies.
Yeah. When they're not working on Toy Story, I'm in there.
Yeah.
Editing this bullshit. Yeah.
I cut some 12 Ounce Mouse on one of the stages there. They have pods, and then they have stages. The stages look like Star Trek Enterprise. It's like mixing boards and theater seats, and I got to put Mouse in there once. It was really fun.
Oh man.
Yeah, but next time you're there, tell George I need my pen back.
Yeah, I'll let him know. I mean, I actually mentioned it to him before. I'm like, is that Matt's pen?
Yeah.
And he didn't really want to talk about it, so I don't know if I can, but I'll try.
I mean, I would run into him in the hallways there, and you just say, "Hey, George," you go, "How are you doing?" It's like
keep on walking.
Keep going.
Yeah, he was on his way to recut another Star Wars movie, so he didn't probably have a whole lot of time to talk with you. But
he just turned 80.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Oh my goodness.
I know.
To the third episode this season, we have the script title episode, all about AI. And for yourself, as a 30-year veteran of the television industry, what are your thoughts on AI right now?
I don't know what to think about it right now. I see some really cool artwork with it. Like really cool stuff. I don't want to get into the politics of the TV business part of it, but
just creatively.
I really think in a way, it's almost like you're going to eventually have to embrace it in some fashion. It's not going away, and I don't know how people can stop it. So I don't know what to think. But I will say I've seen a lot of really, really cool artwork with it in the horror realm. I love the horror stuff, and I think it's just amazing. Dave and I went out with a show recently, and we wanted to get some artwork, and we used a little bit of AI, and I was blown away by what we got. And in the pitches, we would say, some of this artwork is AI, and we'll let you know. And we just did it just to set a tone. We didn't say this is how it's going to look, but it's like when you have a four-headed dog on stilts, you need it, so.
Right.
Yeah.
And the point I want to get across to the listener is that you and Dave aren't really like visual artists, so that's why it's like a useful tool to you guys, because you can just type something in real quick and get something for a pitch or something.
Because for this thing we did, we spent a little bit of money for some original artwork with Matt Jenkins, and
our previous podcast guest.
And eventually your favor runs out, so we got some stuff, and it was great, but we needed more, so we went to AI to help set our tone. Pretty cool stuff. Yeah, I don't know how anybody's going to stop it. I don't know how it's not going to infiltrate into the business in some fashion. Who knows?
Within the script title episode, we get what is supposed to be basically the crux of the episode is that Shake is using AI to write a script, and then we get to see the script that is written. So we get like this little, what is supposed to be an AI generated movie, which is just absolute nonsense. And it's so absurd and Dadaist. It's basically like almost like this classic Adult Swim piece that like is so weird and doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
I want a perfect wedding.
It would be so cool if something cool happened, boy two.
They are a lot longer if you pay for them.
There's bears loose on this plane. That's okay, I'm on trial for a murder I didn't commit.
Let's watch a movie.
Oh no, a comet approaches. The comet just passed the planet. That was a close one.
Let's make another candy cane.
Do you remember writing that with you guys? Like, would you know how you went about writing this just absurd, crazy thing that is supposed to be absurd?
We just wanted it to be like, as soon as they thought about it, it was already funded and made. I mean, that was the stupidest thing to us. Yeah, I mean, we did write it all in there like that. And then when we saw it happen on screen, it just made it so, it's like, oh my God, this is really happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that was all. It's usually always on purpose. You know, we do get the occasional surprises, but we intended it to be like that. And I love the fact that we took AI down that point of view with just the ludicrousness of it's a toaster, it's a coffee maker, and they all have one voice, and it's a sound alike from somebody big.
Yeah, one of my favorite moments from that little sequence is that, like, there's a candy cane character that I think has Dana Snyder doing the voice at one moment, and then at the next moment it's somebody else voicing the same visual character. Which it makes no sense. Like,
I know. I remember getting Dana to do that stuff. He was trying to be real robotic and monotonic, and it was so terrible that it was actually perfect. Oh God. That's what AI would do. That would be super entertaining if that's what we had in our future.
Right.
Somebody needs to do that version of AI and not make it so great, but make it fucked up on purpose.
Yeah, like the fact that it's bad. Because I don't know if you've seen, there's like, for example, Seinfeld. Somebody took like, I think it's 3D models, and they animate it with AI. Then they have AI write the script, and AI also generates the voice. Mm-hmm. So it's like this live stream of like this. It's so nonsensical, right? It's not actually like Seinfeld, but it's supposed to be the same characters. Like, there is some of that where people are doing these really absurd things with it that is purposely bad and silly.
Yeah,
but very enjoyable. Yeah. The next episode, Get Lit Upon a Situpon. I'm curious, was it you or Dave that got the workout bike?
Let me tell you how that actually came about.
Yes, please.
It was who was it? It was somebody in development at Adult Swim or HBO Max. I don't want to say the name, but this person was on a podcast with some Fox show people, and they couldn't stop talking about their Pelotons to a point where it almost sounded like you're not in my echelon unless you have a Peloton. I have a Peloton. And then it just kind of came out of that. But I think I have one, but I've had one for like 7 years, and then I don't know if Dave has one. But so that's sort of where that tone was born. Mm-hmm. Was from that one podcast thing that David heard. He was telling me the story. Yeah. So that's sort of was the seed of that whole episode. Like, it's such a big deal to own one. Like, it's almost like you would brag. It's like, well, I have to get on my Lamborghini, or well, I can't work right now because I got to get on my Peloton.
I got the Peloton lifestyle. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that it's also kind of dealing with subscription culture, which is something that we're slowly devolving into, where everything is a subscription. Even this workout bike, you have to pay the subscription, and that's kind of a point of contention for Shake when he eventually inherits the bike. That it's like, well, you can't afford this. Like, you can't afford this subscription, so you still can't use this.
Yeah, because he steals the credit card.
Yeah, I think he takes Frylock's credit.
Everything is every freaking thing is a subscription now. It's like, I just try to get some plugins from something, and it's like, subscribe.
Yeah,
well, no,
they don't even sell them anymore.
I only need one.
Yeah, you have to buy the whole bundle forever, basically.
Yeah,
keep paying for it. Yeah. I know that Jim Fortier was on that one, I believe, as the voice of the Leprechaun, Carl's Leprechaun bike, but he wasn't credited. I'm wondering why.
I don't know why. That happened. It could have been. I don't know why. Honestly, I don't.
Gotcha.
I'll ask him. But here's the reason why he ended up doing that, because a long time ago, we were working on just Space Ghost. Mm-hmm. This was probably 90. I mean, I can't remember, 98. And we're doing a show where Space Ghost, it ends up with a leprechaun somehow, and it's like it puts him to sleep, and anyway. Whatever the bit was, Jim was doing the leprechaun in the room.
Oh, okay.
Like the leprechaun was stealing all the Space Ghost stereos and stuff, and Jim kept doing the voice. And then when we were writing this the Situpon episode, when we had the leprechaun, I was like, we got to get Jim to do this because he does a great leprechaun.
Yeah, it was amazing.
He killed it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, be gone. Faith and begone. You gotta pedal faster if you want to be
The
gone.
pedal fell off. I can't.
you aren't pedaling.
My
you
knees
just...
are bumping
What the
against.
hell's wrong with you?
Shut up!
Unfortunately, over on Wikipedia, I've been notified that I was credited with that on Wikipedia, which is
Really?
yeah, which is not true.
That's okay. I think I'm on Sonic the Hedgehog on IMDb or something. I'm on shit I had nothing to do with.
That you've never heard of before. It's like, all right, I guess yeah. Well, in my case, it's funny because I explicitly put out a podcast episode talking about doing that voice line on that episode.
Come on, man. You must have some syrup back there. What kind of pancake store is this?
Yeah, we're all out. That guy got it all. And I said, I did this grocery clerk. That's what I did. And then somebody's like, yeah, I'll put that you did the leprechaun too.
Wow. I don't know who puts that stuff up there. I don't even know who puts up the IMDb stuff because I don't.
I don't know. Very dedicated fans. And usually they get it right. But in my travels, I've learned how completely wrong IMDb is.
Yeah.
And I've gone back, like, just doing my podcast because I try and figure out who voices who on these episodes.
Yeah.
And then I've gone in to fix it on IMDb because, like, you told me who voiced something. And then IMDb, like, denied my change, and they didn't let me, like, correct it. So I just, like, all right, whatever. Like, I'm not going to bother with this anymore.
Yeah, I don't know who has the keys to IMDb.
It's like a whole bureaucracy.
I'm not in that level. And you know what? I think it could have been a SAG issue with Jim not getting the credit, but I'm not really sure.
So the last episode of the season was Anubis, which was probably my favorite. It was such an ambitious episode that did so much with it. I mean, I don't know if you've seen, there's certainly been criticisms of the new season because it was too animated and there was like too much visual, as opposed to 20 years ago when you guys were getting shit on because the show wasn't animated enough. Now you're getting shit on because it's too.
You know what I say to that is I don't care. It's like, fuck it. We did what we wanted to do. If you like it, watch it. If you don't watch it. Where's your show? Where's your show with the animation? That's what I say.
Where's your show? Tom Cruise. I only see movies. No, he loved Anubis as well. And like that was an example of an episode that could only have been done with that update in animation. Like that whole Vanessa and Dewey sequence. I don't know how you guys would have done that with the old style at all.
Yeah.
And so I'm just curious, what led to you and Dave kind of doing that Vanessa and Dewey scene and deciding to give them voices finally?
Because they never had a voice, basically. I mean, and then it just made sense for Meatwad. Those were his friends, and they turn on him. And when we started to write him in there, it's like we're going to finally give him a line. They've never talked, for forever. We tried to get Dolly Parton. She said no.
So was she supposed to be Vanessa?
Well, that's what we wanted.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
She didn't want to have anything to do with us. We tried a number of people. I think we tried Meryl Streep. We tried a bunch of like big, older classic legends. But I'm happy with who we got. I mean, that's a star-studded. I think that was like the most like big people that we've ever had in one episode.
Yes.
Amazing. Brian Cox, Lance Henriksen, Danny Trejo.
Meatwad, why did you cut my head off?
No!
Beloved singing train to millions.
Beloved singing train to millions.
And you beheaded him.
And you beheaded me.
Terry!
Friends don't behead friends.
But Terry was my friend. I didn't do this. I would never do this.
Here's the footage of you doing it.
No! They put me in the jail for this.
It's like when Danny came in, I just know him from what he looks like and the characters he plays. When he came in, he was jumping around and he was so excited to be there and he couldn't wait to do it. It's like, on the poster, you look like you're going to kill me, but in this room, you're just happy to be here.
Yeah.
On the poster for Machete.
The duality of Danny Trejo, I guess, right?
Yeah. And Lance Henriksen was the same. He was so excited to be there and he got it. And I'd written a line that was Bishop-esque, and he picked up on that right away. What was it? I may just be an apple, but I have emotions or whatever it was.
Yeah, something like that.
He's like, that's a Bishop line. I'm like, yeah, that's right out of Aliens.
Yeah, because I covered an episode of AQUA TEEN, and maybe from the 2004 season where you guys name drop Lance Henriksen. So it was so cool to see all those years later that you guys finally got him like on the show after like referencing his movies on the show.
Yeah. he was awesome.
When you talk about Danny Trejo, was that through Zoom or did you guys bring him in?
Zoom. We Zoomed him. He was in LA. And then I think Brian Cox was, I don't know where he was, UK maybe or something. Yeah, we Zoomed all those people, even Lance Henriksen.
Okay.
And I think I have screen captures, or I took video of some of it because it was such a big deal.
Right. Yeah.
But I had my camera down here. I didn't want them to see me shooting it with my iPhone.
You mentioned Dolly Parton being somebody who was supposed to be in, but who said no. Meryl Streep was somebody else. Was there anybody else that you want to mention who you guys reached out to for that season that you couldn't get?
I can't remember. I feel like we really looked out. We reached out to a big handful of big kind of legendary people, and everybody said no. Mm-hmm. But like I said, I couldn't be more happier than with the cast that we got. Yeah. I think Dave would feel the same way.
Yeah, I mean, don't feel too bad because those people might have said no to you, but they've said no many times. And I said yes to you guys, and that was the only time I've ever said yes to any TV show ever.
I know. Dave and I can't stop talking about.
I know.
Fuck, I can't believe Ronnie said yes.
I almost said no, but I didn't. I heard that Dolly said no, and I was like, fuck, I can't hit them.
Yeah, you don't want to follow after her.
Yeah. So I had to, be a little bit different.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite episode this season?
Man, I like a lot of all of them. I mean, I like all of them. Mm-hmm. I really do. I think the most unique one for me is A Quiet Place, A Quiet Shake. I think that was. Yeah. We wrote A Quiet Place. In fact, we were talking about A Quiet Shake at this bar in LA about 6 years ago. Mm-hmm. It's like there's no talking. There's these aliens, and they have to like walk on sand, and then these people behind us kept staring at us. And writing shit down.
Oh my God.
And I think it was the people who made Quiet Place. And now they have a second one. We don't have anything. They have a second one.
That's messed up, because that's John Krasinski from The Office. So I can imagine him staring at you guys like he stares at the camera in The Office. I'm
suing him.
Listening to you guys.
Oh, the guy who mixed a bunch of AQUA TEEN, the first AQUA TEEN movie and 12 Ounce Mouse, he worked on Quiet Place.
Yeah, I think I found that because I looked to see if there's any similarities between that movie and the actual AQUA TEEN.
He would turn to me and I would give some note on Mouse. He's like, what if we did this in Mouse? And he would slowly turn around and he said, I worked on Quiet Place. No, I'm just kidding. He wouldn't do that. No, he's a friend of mine.
You say to him, I worked on Quiet Place, so I'm going to do what I want to do.
So I think I kind of know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
with not adding your stupid sound effect.
This question comes from supporter of the show, Lervinator, who wants to know, was there an idea or concept that you wanted to do an episode on but couldn't?
No, I think for this season, I think everything we wanted to do, we did. Mm-hmm. They may have started off with a different kind of mutation, and they mutated, is what I'm trying to say.
Right.
But I think we were able to do that. And honestly, let me think. I think we were able to kind of we kind of just did what we wanted because nobody gave us any guidance or development notes. So we're lucky. So everything that we've wanted to do, we've done. Nobody's ever said no, unless there's like a piece of bad language in it or something, it's like, take that out. But honestly, Dave and I were on our own the whole time for everything.
Right. I mean, that's a lot of trust from the network for you guys.
Well, yeah. I mean, that would never happen anywhere else. You have all these executives and all these people giving you notes and edits, and they just let us go.
I'm wondering if we're ever going to get a camping episode of AQUA TEEN, because that I know is one of your pastimes.
Mm-hmm. We've had a couple where they end up in the woods.
Yeah, they end up camping at some point. Yeah,
they haven't actually been camping. That's a good idea.
Yeah, thinking of a whole.
If they bring it back, we should do one. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Do you have any just closing thoughts on this season of AQUA TEEN, the final season as of right now?
Well, I think it was a really amazing season. We really put our best into it. Some of the best work we've ever done. Just barely above the last 16 seasons and 2 movies and video game and and internet stuff.
And Christmas
I love it.
Album.
And Christmas album. So I think if you haven't rented it more on HBO Max or watched it, stream the shit out of it. Mm-hmm. You don't have to even be in front of the TV. Just turn it on.
Just keep it going in a loop. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to do an art installation where I have 5 TVs and just those 5 episodes fucking looping.
Just loop.
Yeah, just nonstop.
Yeah.
And just get your numbers up. I'll get a nice art installation in. Win-win.
You can get some more medals, another guitar.
Yeah. That's the dream, man.
Yeah.
Speaking of these episodes, of course, being on Max, formerly HBO Max, you tweeted out that these episodes, you got to be subscribed at $9.99 a month to see them. And
that was for the movie. That was for Plantasm.
Oh, for Plantasm, right. But that is also true for the show. So that leads us into our next topic here, the fact that you are now on Twitter and YouTube. I assume the issue this whole time was that somebody like fixed your router, so now you have Wi-Fi, so you can finally get online now. So what prompted you to start making your own YouTube videos now and also getting on Twitter?
I think, well, I'll start with the YouTube thing because during the strike, nothing was happening. And then after the strike, more of nothing was happening. And so I thought, well, I'm just sitting around here waiting for this stuff to come back. I'll just start a YouTube page and think of something to do. So it was just more about the fact that I wanted to make stuff and put it up there. There's not really a point of view of it on that page. It's kind of random and all over the place, but I'm just doing it for fun. And it took me this long to do it because when I wasn't thinking about doing it, I was busy making TV shows. So I think it boiled down to I had some time on my hands. So I've been kind of prolific with putting a bunch of stuff up there.
Yeah, I mean, it's been 2 weeks and you have 9 videos already that are posted.
I know.
It's insane. It's like every few days I get a notification that there's something new to watch.
Yeah. And I noticed today, I think I went up like 4 or 5 subscribers, which is great. It's like, even if you don't subscribe, if you have fun watching it, that's all I care about.
And you're right. There's just like such a buffet of different kinds of things up here. So we have like random stuff of just that you shot in the woods, like your face hugger camp video. Yeah. Then there's also these old pilots that you made that are doing quite well, particularly the Shredforce pilot.
Yeah, that one's going crazy.
Yeah, I mean, that thing, I think it's more popular than AQUA TEEN at this point.
It is.
So to Shredforce, because I heard the name of this before, I think on your LinkedIn, you wrote it on there or something like that. So it was cool to finally see it. And you had Dragon Force doing the theme song to that, which is so cool. That was immediately identifiable when listening to it.
Check out Bugbot! You ready to rock his face off, Ronnie? You know it, Hank. But let's be careful not to level the city this time. For sure, bro. Just follow my lead and watch how we don't level the city. Shredforce! Let's tune it up, Brosa. It's about to get loud, amigo. Taste my licks, Roach Coach! Gatling gun finger pair! Ready? Mega amp feedback! Go! Uh-oh. Did we level the city again?
So with Shredforce, the unfortunate thing about it not happening is I feel like if you guys got greenlit for that it would have been so great for like rock and metal, because you would have had a generation of kids seeing this on Disney, these characters with guitars shredding, and then they'd say, oh, I want to do that. You know, there's not a whole lot of stuff like that.
There's none of that out there. And especially these kids were so likable and fun that you would have wanted to try to do that with them, you know. And then their own music wasn't that great, but when the Dragon Force came in, it was like amazing.
That was back in the early 2010s, right? When you did that?
I think it was 2011 or 12, yeah.
You tweeted out, because I assume because of the absolutely glowing reception to it now that it's been posted, you tweeted out that Disney is trying to figure out who owns the rights to it now.
It's being investigated because I got a call from a producer and they're looking into who owns it. So I'm sure Disney owns it. I can't imagine Disney not owning every single thing they do.
Right.
But there's always a buyout paper if they're willing to go that far. So there's a possibility that thing may have some life. But that was a fun project, and Dan Snyder's in it. He plays the most popular character, Nordic Bunny.
Nordic Bunny, sir. Ruler of the galaxy and nightmare to humanity. The crabinizing sequence is nearly complete.
Most excellent, dum-dum. Today I will unleash a swarm of radical battle crabs into Earth's ocean, and I will become the Grand Imperial Emperor and most extreme bearer of awesomeness who has lots of friends and never has to hang out alone.
Isn't that a little long, sir?
What was that?
And for those listening who don't know, originally this pilot was posted, I think, on Twitter first before you got on there. Somebody who I assume wasn't involved with it got a hold of it and posted it. Am I correct in saying that?
Yeah, but I think it was even posted on YouTube before that.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, and going back to what you just said, that's the reason I got on Twitter. Because the animation director, like 3 weeks ago, I haven't heard from him since 2012. And he wrote and said, "Have you seen this?" I'm like, "No, what is it?" He's like, "Your pilot's blowing up. It got 2.6 million views in 2 days."
That's insane.
I know. And so I'm like, wow, this is crazy. I should get on Twitter and kind of follow this and see what's happening. And now I'm on it. It's like, it's nonstop fan art from the show. Instagram nonstop fan art from the show. It's just nuts.
Right.
So that's why I got on Twitter, because like I kind of want to follow this. This is just mind blowing. And then all of a sudden, like maybe 5-6 days later, that whole post went away.
Oh.
It had been up on YouTube before that, and I just found that out when I joined Twitter. And then that got pulled down. But then it keeps popping up everywhere else. And then I just linked to it. Well, I actually put it on my YouTube page, but I have the original file, and Disney hasn't called me yet.
I'm still waiting for them to take
it down.
Yeah, of course. I'll put a link to that in the description to this podcast episode for anyone listening in if you'd like to see it. It's really great. It's a lot of fun. And you also have another, I think, like a kids pilot on there. I had to watch so many kids cartoons for this interview, Matt. I think I'm on an FBI watch list now or something. But,
oh my God, you might be.
But you did this other one called Busted that I really enjoyed. It's only about 3-4 minutes.
Yeah, it's a short.
It's a short, but also there's no dialogue in it.
Right.
And despite that, watching it, I could still tell that it had your kind of voice in it, even though there wasn't like your trademark like crazy dialogue or anything like that.
Yeah.
When making that, do you remember because I see it was done in 2007. So do you have any recollection of making that? Yeah,
I do, because I made that on my own. I financed it and did it with Radical Access, and I wanted to make something first of all, I wanted to make something that I could show my kids. Because they were young then. And I'm like, I make cartoons and they like cartoons, but I don't want to show them AQUA TEEN right now. And then I also wanted to make something completely out of the box that wasn't AQUA TEEN, that was kind of like broad, anybody could watch it. And so I just kind of came up with this quick idea and we did it. I mean, cost about $15,000, I think. And
oh, wow.
Put it together, and I got a freebie on a little bit of mixing, and I play what's that thing called? The woo, woo, woo.
Oh, the theremin?
The theremin.
Yeah.
That's me playing it at the end.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So that was just me solo. I didn't try to sell it. I didn't try to pitch it. I just made it.
For your kids, basically, then, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool that we can finally see that then, that it was kind of this personal project of yours.
I mean, it was just a personal project, really, yeah.
Yeah. I liked it because it without giving anything away, it just goes on where it kind of keeps, I don't want to say yes-anding itself, but it just kind of keeps like going a little bit crazier and crazier, where they pick up the dad and then he does something and they pick up the police officer. Yeah, I don't know. I really enjoyed that. It was
Yeah, thanks. I thought it was really fun. It was a really just innocent piece.
Right. And of course, you being Matt Maiellaro, the Shred Master, there's some guitar videos up here too. You're teaching us AC/DC.
Yeah.
You're teaching us Van Halen.
Yeah.
You play a little bit of F Off in your newest video, Steinberger Madness. I like when you're at the end of that video, you're like, you got to get one of these. Well, you can't because they don't make them anymore. And I looked them up and they're like $5,000 used.
I know. Isn't that amazing? And I have one. They just sent it to me. That's a fun piece. I try to put a little bit of what I do in animation into these pieces. I think the only one that doesn't have it is the AC/DC one. But in Facehugger Camp, Master Shake appears through the portal. And of course, with Steinberger, I have that fan art all over the place.
Large canvases, yeah.
There's one behind me too, but you can't see it. It's all Meatwad stuff. So I didn't want to get on YouTube and be like, hey, I made all these hit shows. I just wanted to do things and then subtly put stuff in there. But what's in AC/DC that nobody's picked up on is the Hellraiser box, the Lament box. So nobody said, oh my God, the box. But then again, I only have 190 people. So they're probably like 11.
They're not allowed to watch that stuff yet.
Yeah.
Well, my favorite video of yours, despite what you said in an email to me, was the braised lamb shank shred video. I don't know. I load this. I'm about to go to bed. I load this video up. I'm like 9 minutes, and he's cooking.
I know.
I was glued to my. I couldn't turn it off. I was like,
really?
All right, now I was like, what's he gonna add to this? What's he gonna do now? What's he gonna add to this now? So a little bit of everything on this YouTube.
And I fooled you because nothing happens.
Well, you make a delicious looking meal. I might have to try it out one of these days with the wine.
That was the other thing with the YouTube thing. I'm like, you know what? I camp, I cook, I play guitar, I have all these fun props, I have wigs, and I have a camera. It's like I might as well have fun with it.
Right, yeah.
You know, I've been camping for 7 years and I just started filming stuff. And so I'm having fun with it. I still have a ton of stuff about to come out. I was a little nervous about posting, so I shot and shot and shot and shot. I've learned a lot about editing in Final Cut and DaVinci. I do all my own music and sound effects with my plugins. And it's just fun to do. It's just really fun. And I don't care if people like it or if they like it, great. If they don't, then that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, I mean,
yeah.
I want to mention that like the production values here have surprised me. Like in the lamb shank video, I see you have like that rotating. I forgot what the word is, but you have some sort of.
Yeah, I bought a slider. No, it's a slider.
Yeah, a slider. Yeah, that moves the camera around. I mean, there's like typically cuts to you in different costumes and all this sort of stuff. So you're really, it's not like you're just turning your phone on and fucking around for 3 minutes. Like there's obviously thought put into this. Yeah.
Oh, thanks. I'm trying to actually make it look kind of decent. I also have what's it called? A Ronin gimbal or something. And I can have it track me. So if I'm walking around, it can like follow me. Yeah. I'm shooting like N-Log 12-bit raw. And then I have to color it later. And
oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. And you know, the first couple of videos I shot accidentally 8K, which was stupid because the files are like, 25 terabytes. And
yeah.
So, but I still shoot 4K. But I guess it dumbs down for YouTube. I don't even know. I just put it up there. So, and oftentimes I'm like down to like, I'm sort of put it together. And then I finally just say, I'm just going to go finish this thing. And like within 10 minutes, I just finish it and post it. So I'm not putting a lot of thought into it. And that probably shows, but as long as it's entertaining. I'm talking about, because I have this guitar. I think it's kind of interesting when I talk about, like, there's a video with this one. And what I like about this one is that I played this, opened for the Foo Fighters with this guitar. So it's
That's
like
a Fender Stratocaster that Matt is holding up right now. A beautiful cherry red.
With a Floyd Rose.
Yeah, with a Floyd Rose locking tremolo system.
And I'm like, this guitar with me behind it was at the Scott Trade Center with 20,000 people waiting for the Foo Fighters. I think that's kind of interesting.
Yeah. It's a piece of Matt Maiellaro history, AQUA TEEN history, and Foo Fighters history as well.
So I'm just having fun with that stuff. And with Twitter, I'm actually having fun posting things. Just take a picture of something I have
Yeah, and I see you responding to I can't remember what the name of the account is. It's a very popular account where this guy will post questions and you'll respond typically. Like they'll be like, what TV show needs to come back? And you'll respond, AQUA TEEN Hunger Force.
Yeah. He said he had one question recently. I responded with Bob Ross. I can't remember what it was, but
it was like a music thing too. It didn't even make sense.
Yeah,
I know. For like an album, like who you saw live or something like that.
Exactly.
And you said Bob Ross.
Yeah.
I was in the studio when he was painting that.
Can you imagine going to see Bob Ross at Phillips Arena? You paid $94 to get a front row seat.
Yeah,
to watch him paint.
Painting for 20
minutes. That'd be
minutes.
a great AQUA TEEN episode. Yeah, I stopped responding to him because that's all he does, and so I'm just like, I'm bored with you. So
yeah, like it's very calculated.
Everything he puts out is, I don't even think he's real. So
it probably is like ChatGPT's formulating this shit and posting it for him, so he gets more engagement. Yeah. But I've enjoyed, obviously, anybody who is on Twitter. Give Matt a follow. This is at Matt Maiellaro. Link to that in the show notes because I know most AQUA TEEN fans can't spell Maiellaro, so it's there. But the upside to that is that I almost shit in my pants, Matt. I couldn't believe that Matt Maiellaro was still available on Twitter. after this website's been around for like 20 years.
Oh, really? I never thought about that. I just thought,
yeah,
here's my real name. Yeah, didn't occur to me.
Yeah, well, like I was telling you before we got on here, that Dave is Dave Willis too, because somebody else took Dave Willis. So like most names are taken at this point. So you got lucky with the.
I did. I got lucky. Well, for one thing, I guess nobody tried to just take my name. That's lucky.
Yeah, that's what I would think somebody would do. Yeah.
Yeah, but the other thing, honestly, is like there's not many of us in the country. So yeah, there's a Maiellaro that plays soccer in Italy who's real big, and I think somehow I'm related to him. But yeah, it never occurred to me. I just typed in my name and it took it.
Yeah, I saw it. I was like, wow, I can't believe he got his name on Twitter in 2024. That's hilarious.
I know. I'm very late to the party to these things, but I'm just having fun with it. So that's to me what it's all about. So, and I'm not trying to shove some opinion down your throat. I'm just taking a picture of a flask that has 12-ounce stencil on it.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah, or the silver sphere from Phantasm, or your fireplace, or it's a lot of fun. I would really urge anybody who's on Twitter to check this out.
Yeah, check it out. You know what I noticed too is I feel like I got lumped into this one certain crowd, which is great. But the silver sphere thing didn't get a lot of attention because it's not in that realm. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. And yeah, that's the way that like the algorithm works, is that it's like,
yeah,
oh, he's posting animation stuff, we'll show him to animation fans, and then you post something like that and they don't know what to do with it. Yeah. Well, speaking of kids cartoons though, because you do have some up on your YouTube, these pilots that you worked on, I know that you worked on something with Ringo Starr at one point. I heard that on Tim Andrews' podcast or one of his podcasts. What can you tell us about this Ringo Starr cartoon?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna put something of that on Twitter. This is an interesting story. So I worked on developed a show with this guy who used to draw Iron Man, Bob Layton, and he was in LA hanging out with this guy. His last name was Uslan, David Uslan, and they had this show idea. And David's dad owns Batman, like owns him outright.
Okay.
So I'm like, and I'm not afraid to say this, but their idea was not good. But I'm like, this guy's dad owns Batman. So I'm going to pretend like I'm into the show and go pitch it and become friends with this guy. So we stayed friends and everything. But and then one day I get a call from him. He's like, hey, Ringo wants to do a cartoon. And my dad knows him, and my dad knows his lawyer. So let's go meet with his lawyer. So I went with the Uslans to this little place, and where was it? Like Santa Monica or somewhere, and talked to the lawyer. It's like, Ringo wants to do a show. You know, we know that these guys recommend you. You're big into the cartoons, and you have a successful show. So yeah, so I came up with an idea, and I know I have some artwork for it, and I remember pitching it. So I actually got on a speakerphone with Ringo in the lawyer's office.
Yeah.
And you know what? I'm not afraid to say this, but I'm not a Beatles fan.
Right.
They have no influence in my life. But I appreciate what they did for music and how they who they were. So I'm not even nervous talking to them. And it's like pitching the show. It's like, yeah, you're this guy. This happens. You're in space. You're flying around. You're lost. You're bringing music. And so he's like, oh, that sounds really good. So I do a bunch of art and we send it to him. And he had a laser gun and he didn't want to have any weapons. And I was like, well, no, it shoots joy, you know, and it shoots peace. Oh, okay, that's good. But I don't know what happened. It just kind of fizzled. It just kind of went away. And a lot of things do that out there in Hollywood. Things get momentum, they get traction, and then they just kind of fizzle out. So that's what happened. So that's my little story about, and the show is called Ringo Around the Stars because he ends up in space. He goes up to do some drum solo of peace, and some solar wind knocks him out, and then he's traveling around with this guy. So it's kind of like a space adventure, and he was bringing peace to societies and different planets and getting to know people and helping them out. It was really like nothing that I would normally do, but I thought, well, there's a chance to do something with Ringo Starr, so I'll make it. So,
yeah, you got to take it. Yeah. So
that was my little. Yes, I think I told that story. I went on Tim Andrews' radio show once and talked about that. I'm gonna put out a picture on Twitter soon.
Yeah, I'd love to see something from that because that totally took me off guard when I heard that.
Yeah, and you know what? I forgot about it. I'm going to get to listen. So Tim Andrews is on a local show. It's not actually his show, but Tim is like almost
The
the
Von
star of the
Hessler
show.
doctrine.
Von Hessler.
Yeah.
And they were talking about, and Von Hessler's a huge Beatles fan. And I'm camping out, and I'm doing camping stuff, and I'm listening to the show, and they're talking about the Beatles, Ringo, this and this. And I thought, and it just, like, I forgot I had done that. And I'm like, oh shit. So I wrote Tim, and it's like, I developed a show with Ringo, for Ringo. So that's it. It's not much of a story, but it's kind of cool that, I guess the one cool factor out of it was that I talked to him on speakerphone for 5 minutes.
I mean, that's something. That's not nothing, man. I mean, I don't know anything about this, but my guess is that you had him shredding in some sort of capacity, and he was like, I can't do the shredding. My fingers can't do the shredding.
No, the little gay ass music. It's like I was never gonna put shredding into what they do.
I can't do the sweet picking, Matt. I can't do the pinch harmonics. My fingers is only good for holding me drumsticks and doing the peace sign, Matt.
Oh, no. That's really good. And I was kind of pulling from when Neil Peart did the drum solo of Life and Plantax and AQUA TEEN. So
yeah.
And I told you that story was he agreed to do it. Dave was not in the office that day, and I got a call from Neil Peart.
What a day to not be in the office.
Dave, he wasn't there for some reason.
But what a day! Like, oh man, I wasn't there when Neil Peart was calling in.
I know. Damn it. He probably would have actually enjoyed that. But so I get a call, and it's Neil Peart, and he's like, "No, I just want to play this." So he plays me the solo that he just did. And then it goes on, and he gets back on the phone. He's like, "What do you think?" I'm thinking, how do I respond to that, right?
Well, Neil, that triplet was a little sloppy in the fourth bar. If you can go back.
Something was just off time right there. Can you roll it back? So that's my other 10-second phone call claim to fame, is I talked to Neil Peart on the phone.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you guys reached out to Geddy Lee for Spirit Journey Formation Anniversary. He couldn't do it, but you got to be Geddy Lee.
I did. I was Geddy Lee.
You were rocking it, man.
Yeah, that's actually just me. I mean,
yeah,
I probably couldn't do that now, but back then I did it.
Deep within the womb.
Deep within the womb of time, a creature must be born. The seed of life is united with the egg of tyranny. From within the womb of life for 3/4 and 9 year, the creature thus be born, the creature thus be formed.
Moving on here, I have some fan questions for you. This first one from supporter of the show, Christian. And Christian would like to know, off the top of your head, what is your favorite death in AQUA TEEN?
I think it was in Sirens. Didn't he get his skin ripped off?
Oh yeah, I think so.
Whoever gets their skin ripped off.
Yeah, I know John. Is it John Kruk? Right, he's the one.
Yeah, I think so.
Hanging out with the Sirens. Yeah, and they keep ripping his skin over something.
And then I think that's my favorite death. But then my favorite kind of like scene that would make is when Carl's made of eyeballs.
Yes, Total Recarl.
That just seems like that would just hurt. Like I feel pain when I look at that image. Because you're stepping on your eyeballs, you're walking on your eyeballs.
Yeah. Because Carl takes one step and he's like I know. He's like screaming his head off. He's in so much pain.
Yeah.
Hello, is anyone here? Why do my knees feel like they want to tear up?
Carl, it works.
What works?
All of them. Look. Get it when I say look. Come on.
Yeah. Just walk over here, Carl. Let's see if your legs work.
You gotta study me like a pupil.
Okay, hang on a sec.
Christian also would like to know, why did you follow the trend of killing off the main characters in almost every episode?
Because they do that in To Live and Die in L.A. And I'm a huge fan of that. When he gets killed, I'm like, they just killed the main character.
I haven't seen that, so I don't know.
No, I'm just kidding. I am a big fan of that movie. No, I'm a big fan of that movie, but he does die pretty. Well, I spoiled it for you, but
oh no.
Why? Just because it was fun to do. It's like blow him up and bring him back. I mean,
right?
Yeah.
To me, I don't know that you guys intended this, but it's almost like this commentary on television, because fundamentally, TV shows can't have their characters change that much, because otherwise the show stops working. Like in cartoons, that's why Bart Simpson is still a 10-year-old or whatever.
Yeah.
Well, with AQUA Teen, you guys took it so extreme where it's like, yeah, we could kill these characters, but in the next episode, they're just back as themselves, and the show just goes on.
Yeah. But plus, they're not real people; they're just drawings.
Supporter of the show, UWF, would like to know:
you're moving on from that pretty fast because that was a really bad joke. Yeah, that was a good one, man. Hey, this other guy wants to know why you be so dumb.
Well, actually, I want to steal it, so that's why I'm not acknowledging it, so I can take it later. UWF would like to know, have you ever considered selling 8x10 prints on a website for people who are interested in purchasing your autograph?
No, I would just give it out. I'm not interested in selling stuff like that. But the only thing is I'd have to pay for postage, and if I got too many, I would sign anything for free or give it away. I'm not into like selling stuff like that.
Sure. So as long as fans pay for postage, you would be willing to sign it and send it back?
But then I would feel bad about saying, send me $3 and I'll mail you this back.
Well, you need to be careful here, Matt, because you're going to get after this, you're going to get a bunch of people. Like if it's free, then they're all going to be like, fucking sign this and send it to me.
I don't know how to really answer that because I will sign whatever, but I had a friend of Dana's recently he wrote Dana first and said, I need to get this graphic novel that Matt wrote a long time ago that I can't find.
Nobody's. Yeah.
Yeah. And so Dana wrote me. He's like, can you help this guy out? Do you want to go through me or what? I said, no, I'll just write the guy. So I wrote him and said, just send me your address and I'll mail you one. And he did. But I'm thinking, if I got too many of those,
right,
I'd be out of pocket. Well, with books, because I don't have that many books left, but then I'd end up paying for all the postage. But so getting back to selling stuff. Now, if you happen to come by my house, I'll sign your thing.
If you're just walking down the street and they see you outside and they happen to have a DVD with them or something,
I'll sign
it. This one comes from Instagram. _Lil Daggy _ asks for an update on the Space Ghost movie script that you wrote with Dave and Matt Harrigan, if there's been any movement with that.
There's been no movement. That was back when it was AT&T. And as soon as Discovery came in, they just ground everything to a halt. And nothing's going on with that at all. In fact, nothing's going on at all with the whole thing.
Right.
Yeah. Right. So they're at a basic standstill. Unfortunately, we really liked that thing. It was really funny. Maybe up the road. It's not like we've given up on it, but they liked it. We did 2 rounds with them, I think.
Oh, wow.
Talking to the big guys. And then that merger happened and everything stopped.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like in better news, I know that George Lowe has been doing pretty good lately, is from what I've heard. I know that within the past year he wasn't doing too hot, but I guess he's turning around a little bit, which is good to hear.
Yeah, I've heard that too. Yeah. Yeah, that's good.
Also on Instagram, Tilted Moons wants to know, what is your favorite AQUA Teen crew gift that those in production have either gotten or given? So, like, I know that you guys get some gifts for being on the crew. My guess would be that guitar that you were showing off there, that $5,000 guitar might be a favorite gift that you've gotten.
Oh, that I've gotten? For sure.
Yes.
Yeah. That came from Gibson. And I think they sent us 6, and Dave and I each took 2. And then we gave one to Bob Pettit because he plays guitar and he did our backgrounds. And then I can't remember where the other one went. But I think the favorite gift that we ever gave out was just, recently we just gave out a set of these bad boys.
Oh, really? You just gave them out. Matt is holding up the Boston Moonanite Ignignockt LED.
Yeah. I have both of them and they work.
Nice.
And it was for the movie. So it didn't go to every single person that worked on it because we had a ton of people, but I think that was probably the coolest gift we've ever given out.
Mm-hmm. What about one-time voices on the new 5 episodes? Do they get those as well or no?
Yeah. You didn't get yours yet?
No, I'm still waiting for it. I've been checking the mailbox every day.
They didn't send you the tracking number? I'll have them send you the tracking number.
All right, please do.
We sent it last year.
Oh my gosh.
I think they sent another set to you too. So yeah, that's weird that you haven't gotten it.
Yeah, well, you know what? I do have a pile of boxes out front, but the bomb squad from my town keeps taking them away. So maybe that was what that was. I don't really know.
Yeah, I'll look into that because we definitely tried to send you at least 3 or 4 times those things. They're not coming back to us. So
I was wondering, because I know that Dave is very inspired by Steve Martin as like a comedic influence to him. I'm curious what your comedic influences are. Like, were you into stand-up as a kid?
I love Steve Martin. I didn't know Dave was so into Steve Martin.
Yeah, he's a huge Steve Martin fan.
I mean, I know that he likes him, but like Ned Hastings and I constantly are texting Steve Martin lines back and forth because it's so funny and classic. I mean, we don't even have conversations. We just text a line that Steve said, and we laugh and laugh because I mean, it's been like 50 years that I've been listening to that stuff. Yeah, I had all of his records, LPs when they came out. Stand-up fan. I remember as a kid liking Bob Nelson.
Not familiar.
I don't even know if he's still around. He did a famous football bit. I remember Richard Pryor. Now, this was when I was a kid. I didn't even know about this stuff until HBO happened. You know, because I know I'm older than you and a lot of your audience, but like Richard Pryor was doing stuff, and who's that? George Carlin.
Yes,
I saw George Carlin live once.
Really?
And I thought he was funny, but you know, those were different kind of stand-up things. And
well, George Carlin changed so much too. It depends, like what year you saw him is really like what kind of comedian he was in that period.
Yeah. And so like I remember the Stephen Wright thing on HBO and Robin Williams, but and I always laughed at that stuff and liked it. But I just maybe had just happened to be watching and it came on, right? So it's not like I sought it out. So because I was still into horror stuff, I wanted to watch Phantasm and Evil Dead and Halloween, and so I was more drawn to that stuff. But yeah, I mean Steve Martin, I mean classic. I remember Dave and I went to Aspen once for the comedy festival, and he was playing banjo with the Smothers Brothers.
Wow, okay.
It wasn't even stand up; he was just playing.
Just playing music,
and we went to see that show. Yeah, it was incredible. I wish I'd seen him live, but yeah, I've always been a huge fan of his. And I always knew Dave liked him, but I didn't know he was like really immersed in it. But I know Ned Hastings and I constantly, just for fun, text Steve Martin lines back and forth.
And that's funny to me because Ned and Dave were on a podcast talking about how they love Steve Martin, I think, before. So I heard similar stories with Dave and Ned. So I think you guys need to get a group chat going where the three of you can send Steve Martin.
Yeah, and just do the lines.
Because Dave named his cat Gern Blanston, right? After the Steve Martin bit.
He did, yeah, I remember that. That was a long time ago. I remember that, yeah.
Yeah.
Steve ended up marrying a girl from my hometown.
Really?
But she had moved to New York. Yeah, she was, I don't know what she does. I can't remember. Something in the journalism thing. I don't know. But I wouldn't know her from Adam. But I thought that was a weird connection. But we did actually try to reach out to him for, was it Plantasm? We tried to get him for something once, and it didn't work out. But it's okay.
Are you a sports fan? Because I know that Dave is like big in that world. I don't know. I've never heard you talk about
I'm
it.
huge into college football.
Okay. Not NFL?
No, not really NFL. I didn't start well, I'm an LSU fan because my wife went there. And so we've been watching. We're just pulling for them all the time. And when Burrow ended up going to the Bengals, I think, that's when I got interested in NFL. But I don't really watch it. But I'll turn it on just to hear it. But to me, college, yeah, we're like big into it. Like we cry when it's over and we can't wait for it to come back.
Yeah.
Yeah. I put I just like 20-foot screen in my back porch and a projector, and we just crank it up.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. Fill the cooler with stuff, cook some ribs or anything Southern. And it's like football. That's like the day. We don't do anything. We just do football that whole day.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. Yeah. Cause I said, I never heard you talk about sports before, so I didn't know if a lot of the sports references for AQUA Teen were coming explicitly from Dave or if you were contributing some too.
No, they are. They're coming because they're always from Dave because he's big into, he knows way more about the NFL, and all those sports jokes are usually NFL things. So
and baseball as well. Yeah.
Yeah. See, to me, it's all the same. So if he said LSU or Coach O, then I know what he's talking about.
Yeah.
When he starts talking about Belichick and these teams that he always mentions, like, yeah, that's so foreign to me.
Sure. Like all of Carl's interests then are basically an extension of Dave, I guess.
Well, at least the football stuff.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
Yeah.
But like when it comes to the crocus and the car is actually my car.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we both have a hand in it, but he definitely takes the cake when it comes to the sports stuff because I don't even know what he's talking about when he starts rattling that stuff off.
Right. Like I covered recently the Bart Oates episode with Bart Oates in it, and that episode is all like football innuendos and stuff too.
Yeah, I'm sure that's all Dave. I mean, sometimes I throw something out there that works, but it's a give and take. It's like with Box Slayer. It's like I kind of just took over the musical part because it was in my realm. When it comes to the NFL or baseball, Dave just runs it because it's in his realm.
Right. I'm wondering if there's any update on Pastalieninvasion.
There isn't. There's no update on anything of that. There's been a script. It's really good. And I don't know what Tubi's doing. I don't think Tubi's doing anything. I don't think anybody's doing anything, honestly.
The industry is just taking a hiatus.
Yeah, it's at a weird standstill right now. But I know it'll turn around because it has to. But yeah, as far as I know, Tubi's not moving on any projects. It kind of gets weird sometimes too. It's like I had a pilot almost get going at Fox, and then it just instantly just kind of went away. And it's like nobody will ever tell you an answer, like why or how. Same thing with this pasta thing. It's like the people have changed hands so much now that it's not even the same people when I did pasta the first time.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And it's like, are we doing two? No. I have to see if it's like nobody wants to say yes or no.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's just kind of standard in the industry, but there's definitely a script. I mean, I got paid to write the script and we worked on it. I think I did 3 or 4 drafts and then they were in a hurry to get it done and then stopped. But that's just how it rolls.
So I'm wondering, as of today, what's next for Matt Maiellaro? What do you got cooking that you can tell us about?
Well, like I said, Dave and I are out with a new show right now that we're hoping we're getting somewhere with one particular buyer who really wanted to hear it.
Is this your YouTube channel that you're talking about? Is that the buyer?
No, because I don't buy anything or sell anything. No. We're really excited about it. In fact, we just pitched it this week. So we'll see where that goes. And then we wrote a movie last year. It's did I tell you about that? It's a sci-fi comedy.
Is this the live action one that you guys mentioned?
Yeah, it's live action.
Okay.
Yeah. And we're slowly working our way through finding hopefully some cast people so we can get the funding.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And then what else is up with me? Right now, I'm really just kind of, in a way, waiting for this industry to come back to life. And in the meantime, doing this YouTube stuff for fun. And, it's about to be summer and I'm going to have stuff to do with the kids who are out of school. But super excited and hopeful about this project Dave and I have.
How's that, huh? Matt Maiellaro, what a guy. Always so fun to talk to. Again, you can find him on Twitter at Matt Maiellaro, and his YouTube is linked in the description to this podcast episode. I just think it's so cool the way that Matt is getting on YouTube really with no expectations of anything. He's just like, I'm having fun posting stuff. Like, he doesn't really care what happens. He just wants to make stuff that's fun for him to do and fun for us to watch. And fun it is. I really do recommend you check these videos out. I've seen all of them, and they are a hoot. It's a hoot and hollering good time. And he really does undersell them, I think. He really makes them sound a lot more casual than they are, to me at least when I watch them, because there is production value put into this, and there is thought put into these things. So it's, like I said in the interview, like, he's not just turning on a phone and, like, doing something, there's some production value here. It was really fun for me hearing Matt talk more about working with Dave Willis and how different that they are in their interests, and how these differences in interests combine to make AQUA Teen what it is. Like, we were talking specifically about Carl, where Dave is bringing in the sports hobbies for Carl, and then Matt is bringing in the musical side of his hobbies. But that, can be expanded to really all of AQUA Teen, how there's these different facets of the show that you can almost pin down to each of these guys in some circumstances that really makes the show just as great as it is. And that's important. Like, if you're a creative who's looking to find a partnership of some kind, it's important to find somebody different than yourself. Like, obviously you need some similarities, but you'll see that in podcasting, for example, a lot, where, one host will be the excited guy and the other host will be the more reserved guy. Because if they were both the same way, it wouldn't really work as well, because it would just be both people agreeing with each other the whole time, and that could get old. And in the case of this podcast, I definitely took it to the extreme where my co-host isn't even a person. I don't even have a co-host, so you can't get any different than that. So always fun to hear Matt talk about these things. Of course, it's a bummer to hear that as of this recording, there's no new AQUA Teen on the way, but it's very important that you recognize that the entire industry is basically at a standstill, right? We just talked to Matt Jenkins the other week, and he had the exact same thing to say. He is an animation director and an artist, to where there's not a whole lot of work for him right now. Same thing with Matt and Dave as these writers, these creators. There's just nothing happening. So don't think that like AQUA Teen has been singled out and canceled. There's just nothing happening right now. So as always, whenever I know anything, I will let you know right here on the podcast. And speaking of the podcast, if you enjoyed this interview, I have 2 other interviews with Matt. One that is more of a general interview from 2022, and another solely about Pastalieninvasion, his amazing film that you could watch right now over on Tubi for free, absolutely free. You don't even need an account. How laissez-faire is that? Definitely check out Pastalieninvasion if you haven't seen it. Otherwise, I have interviews with a bunch of the other guys like Dave Willis, Carrie Means, J. Wade Edwards, Craig Harton, Nick Inkatanawat. The list goes on. I could be here all day telling you about it, so just check the podcast feed and pick and choose what you want. It's a free country. It's not like Pinhead's gonna rip your skin off just because you didn't listen to all the episodes. My word. So, of course, thank you to Matt for coming on the podcast. Thank you for listening to this podcast. Without you listening, there would be no reason for it to exist. And thank you to our supporters over at patreon.com/dancingisforbidden for chipping in their hard-earned cash to keep this podcast rocking and rolling so that I can keep doing it. Look, I'm not like Matt, all right? I'm not a big-time TV guy who's created all these amazing shows. I need help making this podcast, unlike his YouTube channel that he is doing completely for free, okay? So, as you know, Matt's on YouTube now, so I told him, I said, look, Matt, I'll give you some experience on a podcast. I'll let you read out the names of our top-tier supporters. I'll be a nice guy and let you do it.
Yeah, I just want to give a shout-out to our Highlander Nick, because there can only be one, and there clearly is only one Nick. Sean, Ian, Captain Buford, happy birthday, by the way. Robison, did I say that right? Robison. I always mess that up.
It's hard. It's a tricky one.
You know, it should be spelled R-O-H, if you want to say it, Robison. That's the way I think.
You know, I bet he might change his name if we ask him to.
And Robison, Jason Carl, Lachey Raton 69 from Louisiana, clearly. Is he an LSU fan?
I don't know. I can ask him.
Because he sounds like he's Cajun, which is a big deal.
I know, for your household.
I know. Empower 706, SwimWiki. Oh, SwimWiki's been talking to me on Twitter.
He's a good guy.
Lurvinator, Thorn the Grumpy Dwarf, Garrick, Jonathan, Calixto, and Tom.
You went very announcerly there. And Tom. We got a new character for you, I think, man.
The announcer.
And Tom, the last guy on the list.
Tom.
Dancing is forbidden.